Breaking. The legal world for gun owners has just shifted in a way that could end your freedom overnight. 10 critical gun laws have changed, and the Ninth Circuit Court's ruling on Miller v. Bonta has placed millions of firearm owners at risk of prison time, fines, and felony charges. This is not a drill, and this is not something that will be enforced years from now. It is happening now. If you own semi-automatic rifles, high-capacity magazines, or firearms that were previously considered legal, you need to pay attention immediately. Ignorance of the law will not save you. Today we are going to break down exactly what has changed, how it affects you, and what steps you must take immediately to avoid breaking the law and potentially facing up to 10 years in prison. Before we dive deep, I want you to pause and hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This is crucial information. Every gun owner in the Ninth Circuit, and even outside of it, needs to hear this. Every second you delay, the risk increases. You don't want to discover too late that your previously legal firearm could now make you a criminal. The first and most important change comes from the assault weapon ban, ruling by the Ninth Circuit Court. In Miller v. Bonta, the court defined certain semi-automatic rifles as assault weapons under state law. This ruling is sweeping. It is not a narrow technicality. It affects millions of firearms and owners across California, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, Nevada, Idaho, Montana, and Alaska. The court clarified that rifles with detachable magazines, pistol grips, folding or telescopic stocks, and other specific features are now classified as assault weapons. Previously, owning such a weapon legally, with or without modifications, was considered lawful. That is no longer the case. Even possession without registration now constitutes a felony offense, punishable by severe fines and up to 10 years in state or federal prison. Let's be very clear, this affects everyday gun owners. You might have purchased a semi-automatic rifle 5 or 10 years ago, believing you were fully compliant. Under these new rules, that firearm could now be illegal. Police officers are now empowered to enforce these laws, and compliance checks could escalate into criminal investigations. The margin for error has disappeared. If your firearm meets the criteria outlined in Miller v. Bonta, failure to register or modify your weapon immediately could result in criminal charges. Alongside this ruling, 10 additional gun laws have changed in ways that all gun owners need to understand. These changes are broad and sweeping. They do not merely add extra paperwork or minor technical requirements. They are enforceable legal obligations with serious consequences for non-compliance. Here is a breakdown. First, mandatory registration of previously exempt firearms is now required. Any firearm that falls under the newly defined assault weapon criteria must be registered immediately. This includes weapons you may have bought legally years ago and never registered because it was not required at the time. This retroactive application is unprecedented and places a huge legal responsibility on owners. Second, magazine capacity limits have been lowered, and exceeding these limits is now a felony. If your rifle or pistol has a magazine that exceeds the new limit, you must either replace the magazine or modify it to comply. Owning or using an overcapacity magazine after this ruling could result in criminal charges. This is not theoretical. There are cases already being reviewed by prosecutors, and enforcement is expected to increase. Third, background checks for secondary transfers, even between family members, are now mandatory. Selling or giving a firearm to a friend, neighbor, or relative without completing the required background check is no longer a minor oversight. It is a criminal offense. Many gun owners assume that family transfers are exempt. Under the new rules, they are not. Fourth, secure storage requirements have increased. Gun owners are now legally required to store firearms in secure safes or with approved locking mechanisms. Leaving a firearm unsecured in your home could be considered negligent and could carry penalties, especially if a minor or unauthorized person gains access. Fifth, certain firearm accessories are now banned. Items like stabilizing braces, flash suppressors, or certain types of optics may now fall under restricted categories. If you possess these accessories, you may need to surrender them, remove them from your firearms, or face penalties. Sixth, mandatory reporting of lost or stolen firearms is now required within 48 hours. Previously, owners were encouraged but not legally obligated to report lost guns. Now, failure to report could be considered obstruction or complicity, further risking criminal charges. Seventh, enhanced penalties for prohibited transfers have been implemented. Giving a firearm to someone prohibited from owning one, even unintentionally, carries heavy legal consequences. This applies to convicted felons, individuals with restraining orders, or those previously committed for mental health reasons. Eighth, monitoring of gun shows and private sales has increased dramatically. Law enforcement now has greater authority to oversee events where firearms are sold privately. Every transfer must comply with the new rules, and failure to do so could result in criminal liability. Ninth, the definition of prohibited persons has expanded. Now, certain domestic violence convictions, restraining orders, and other legal conditions prevent ownership. Gun owners who previously believed they were unaffected may now fall into this category. Ignorance of your status under the law will not prevent charges. 10th, retroactive application of the law means firearms legally purchased years ago may now be considered illegal. Compliance is not optional. What was legal in the past may now make you criminally liable. This is why immediate action is essential. Let's break this down with realistic examples. Suppose you purchased a semi-automatic rifle legally in 2017. It has a detachable magazine and a pistol grip. 5 years ago, you were fully compliant. Under these new rules, your rifle is classified as an assault weapon. If you do not register it immediately, you are committing a felony. Another scenario, giving your cousin a firearm as a gift. Previously legal, now illegal, unless a full background check is conducted. Every misstep, even unintentional, could result in prosecution. So, what steps must you take immediately? First, inventory every firearm you own. Identify the make, model, serial number, magazine capacity, and accessories for each weapon. Compare each firearm against updated legal lists to determine compliance. Second, register any firearm now classified as an assault weapon or previously exempt but now required to be registered. Third, ensure all storage methods meet the new legal standards. Fourth, avoid private transfers without conducting proper background checks. Fifth, consult a firearms attorney immediately if you are uncertain about any of your weapons. Even one mistake could result in felony charges. The legal references here are critical. Miller v. Bonta is the Ninth Circuit precedent now affecting California, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, Nevada, Idaho, Montana, and Alaska. This ruling could influence other circuits in the future. Prosecutors are likely to enforce retroactive penalties immediately. If you live in these states, understanding your rights and obligations under this ruling is essential. Ignorance is no longer a defense. Compliance is mandatory. In short, these changes are sweeping. 10 gun laws have been altered. Assault weapons are now strictly regulated. Non-compliance could result in prison time. Immediate action is essential. Inventory your firearms. Register what is now required. Secure your collection. Follow every new legal procedure. Consult an attorney if you are unsure. Failure to act could destroy your life. Remember, knowledge is power. The Ninth Circuit assault weapon ruling is enforceable now. Ignorance is no defense. Retroactive penalties may apply. Magazine limits are strictly enforced. Background checks are mandatory. Storage rules are no longer optional. Every firearm owner must act immediately. Delay is not an option. Protect yourself and your family by acting today. Finally, recap the key points. 10 new gun laws have changed. The Ninth Circuit assault weapon ruling is now in effect. Non-compliance carries severe legal consequences. Take immediate steps. Inventory, register, secure, and consult legal experts. These actions will protect you from criminal charges, fines, and potential imprisonment. If this information has been valuable to you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with every gun owner you know. Staying informed could literally save your freedom. Stay alert, stay legal, protect yourself. The time to act is now.